Hello, I'm Marsh Carter, Chairman of the NYSE Group and Vice Chairman of our parent company, NYSE Euronext. I'm joined today by 4 of the people that are in our Veterans Training Program here this summer, and we're going to engage them in a conversation in just a few minutes. Let me start by asking each of you what service you served in, where you were deployed to, and are you doing undergraduate education now?
Name's Eugenio Oliva. I was in the United States Marine Corps. The last 10 years I was deployed overseas. Went through Iraq, Afghanistan, and a bunch of other places. And I'm in school right now, finishing September.
I'm Kim Taylor. I was in the Army for nearly 10 years, and I was stationed in Germany, and we went in and out of the Middle East. And I'm doing my graduate degree, MBA in finance right now.
Jayson Browder. Spent 4 years active duty in the United States Air Force. Deployed on 1 tour, Joint Base Pilot in Iraq. I'm currently at Fordham University now with my undergraduate degree.
Great. And I'm Mario Bonifacio. I did 11 years in the Army total. 4 of them were active, and and that included 1 deployment to Iraq.
Thanks. Our summer Veterans Transition Program at the Stock Exchange also has an educational component with it. Twice a week they have some sort of a class educating them on financial systems, the financial services industry, and generally American business. I actually spoke to them at lunch today about ethics in American business. Let me direct the questions to them also and ask, have any of you in your job search been able to utilize explaining to a potential employer some of the skills you bring from the military?
Well, yeah, definitely. I'm able to, I think they get the things like work ethic, the ability to show up on time and put a lot of hours in, but I don't think that they necessarily understand that we're also very adaptable. You know, there's a lot of leadership that we got to do in our career very early on, and I think, you know, those are a couple other things that employers are usually surprised to hear about, and you know, they absolutely welcome as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that fits in well to what the large companies are looking for, because the 3 leadership traits that I've stressed always is technical competence in your job, adaptability, because business changes every 6 to 18 months these days, and the ability to communicate at all levels, laterally and up and down the management chain of command. So you bring those skills from the military with you to the civilian workforce, and I think most big companies would view those as very valuable.
Oh, fantastic.
How about yourself?
I'd like to piggyback off of the adaptability piece. I feel like a lot of employers view the military as very hierarchical, which is true, and to the ability to take orders and complete tasks as told, but the military brings a very entrepreneurial spirit. Specifically, when I was in Iraq, we were given a task, but a lot of times we didn't have all the information or specifics on how to do it, and our company officers, you know, allowed us to be entrepreneurial and getting the job accomplished, you know.
So one of the keys in your civilian transition period is to demonstrate to possible employers that your leadership experience and your experience in the military may not be what they think it is.
Correct.
Kim, have you had some experience along those lines?
Definitely. Something that comes up every time I go into an interview is they ask about when situations change, the stressful situations I've been involved with. How does that relate to the corporate sector? You know, how would I be able to react to in a business aspect? Mm-hmm. And I've had the opportunity to show a couple of businesses how that can transpire, and they've seen how leadership and understanding getting things done in a timely manner is so very important to us in the military, and I was able to instill that in some of my colleagues in the work situation. So it kind of just flows right in. I've been very lucky.
Well, I think some of your experiences parallel mine as a Vietnam veteran, although we had a more difficult time sometimes getting a job, but the same thing applied. We had to demonstrate that we were adaptable and that we were not in some military hierarchical mode of thinking. How about yourself?
Well, sir, the one thing that I learned in the Marine Corps, and I know is one of the most important things in the military, just as I see in the New York Stock Exchange, is communication. If without communication, you're pretty much dead in the water. And that's one of the things that I love about being here and the opportunity to bring that over here. I'm right now in operations, and I have to talk to the traders on a day-to-day basis as we move the trading floor, as they're moving from the garage over to the blue room and whatnot. The other thing is the multitasking aspect. Just because everybody in the military has a MOS, military occupational skill, for those of you that don't know what that means, basically, just because I was infantry doesn't mean that I didn't get trained in, for example, I got trained in logistics. And on top of that, martial arts instructor and all that other stuff. And the military loves to throw extra stuff at people simultaneously. And that's one of the aspects that the New York Stock Exchange has allowed. It not only was on the floor, but they also, for example, Kim has to do all her HR stuff. And aside from that, she's putting projects together, making a booklet for us, and it's like multitasking, and they're trying to really grasp that. Sorry.
Well, it is interesting because corporations sometimes perceive that you have this rigid military mindset, but people don't enter the military with prior training. So everything they've learned in the military, they've been taught to them in the military. So if they were in a corporation, they could also undergo training for every new job they had to be in.
Yes, sir.
What has been particularly noteworthy in your 2 months here this summer? What sticks out in your mind as a real benefit of the Veterans Transition Program that we've started here at the Stock Exchange? Yeah, go ahead.
For first thing, definitely that somebody actually stepped up and walk the walk instead of just talk about it. I have a lot of corporations that are, yes, we want to hire veterans or we want to give them opportunity, but none of us had the opportunity to come in and actually see how this business runs from an inside point of view. And that's really one of the big things that I took from it.
Well, we hope that our success with the program this summer will allow us to communicate with listed companies, which is our main source of business, the success we've had and how we did it. Kim, anything jump into your mind about that you'll take away from this program as you go back into graduate training?
This is, since the military, this is the first business atmosphere that I've been in that reminds me a lot of the military. The camaraderie, the family kind of feeling that you get while you're here, and the fact that people do their jobs. You know, I'm sure you have slackers, but I haven't seen any yet. You know, when you ask something to get done, it gets done, and I like the timeliness of it, of just like I did in the military. So that was very comforting and familiar.
Also, the educational piece, which is, you know, something very key to this Veteran Associate Program at the New York Stock Exchange. Is it's not only wonderful professional experience within the financial industry, but also an educational piece. So when we go out and apply for a new internship or a new job, we're able to pull these educational experiences and put that together with our professional experience here at the Stock Exchange to be a better candidate for employment.
So for me, I mean, it's really easy to see the tangible benefits. Like, you know, this is we're gaining so much in terms of networking, the educational components. I mean, I can't state enough how good that is, and you know, it's also, I'm sure it'll be a great resume bullet too. But I mean, I think the biggest thing that I'm going to take away from this is really, you know, you could see the bridge between where I am, or I could see the bridge between where I am and where you know, I'd like to be. I have so much more confidence about you know, the fact that I will be able to you know, work in financial services. It's something that's totally conceivable now. Whereas before starting out here, it was just, throw a resume into a black box and hope that you get some kind of interview out of it. Here you know who the players are, you know what the vocabulary now, and it's just worlds further into the whole process than I thought I'd be at this point.
Well, I think one of the things when you transition is because you haven't experienced the civilian world before, you may lack the confidence to present yourself in a very enticing manner to a possible employer.
Absolutely.
And I know that was an issue I had with transitioning from the Marine Corps to the Chase Manhattan Bank. They were a big enough company where they were willing to hire someone who didn't have a traditional banking background and had spent most of his time deployed in Vietnam and other parts of the world. So this is the second of our series of Veterans Roundtable. You will see some more program as the summer transitions.